Hello and welcome back to another episode of Screen Tested. I am your host Tyrant, and today we're going to be taking a look at a whole bunch of different Robin Hood feats and trick shots and some additional pop culture, kind of archery adjacent shots, and seeing if we can recreate them, seeing if they're possible, seeing if they're plausible, or seeing if they are completely ridiculous and outside the realms of possibility. Now obviously Robin Hood is one of those tales that has been retold, reinterpreted, a bunch of different times, so it means that there's kind of a lot of different trick shots and feats that have been made up over the years. So I thought, why not just give them a go and have some fun with it, see if any of them are possible, and we'll also obviously, like I said, add in a couple of different other pop culture ones. So with that out of the way, let's get started with today's episode. It's all about the archery today. So just before we get out there, I should mention that I have tested some arrow tropes before. Most namely, obviously, the green arrow boxing punch, which is far more viable than one might first assume. It was a whole bunch of fun. You should check out that episode if you haven't already. Another one would have been, fire arrows, a very, very popular, pop culture arrow. It's on fire and you shoot it. Usually the armies are shooting it. That one is a little bit more plausible. I mean, it's possible, right? Especially with modern technology. And then the last one would have been actually a bit more of a game mechanic one, shooting a trapdoor to release a prisoner. I'm not going to say that one's possible, but I have tested it before. Now, lastly, the bow that I'm going to be firing today is this rosewood bow here. It has a draw weight of about 50 pounds, something good for hunting. It's very smooth and I'm not going to get fatigued firing a lot of shots. So let's get out there and let's start letting loose some arrows. So the first thing that I'm going to do is use my back scabbard and shoot an apple off Tony's head. I don't even know if this one is a Robin Hood one, and I've actually kind of done it before facing the other way, but I thought it'd be fun to do it anyway again. All right, so let's try. Easy, let's do it again. That was fun. I think that's good enough. 2. Rather easy to do. And I want to make a note here that I didn't hit Tony, not once. So, can you shoot an apple off someone's head? Yes. Probably only once if you're bad at it though. Next, trick shot. I'm going to call them trick shots today. Shooting 5 or 6 arrows, as we see in, of course, the goated film, Robin Hood, Men in Tights. Let's see if we can do it for real. Let's start with 2 and work our way up. Let's not get too greedy too quick. Damn it. 2 arrows on a string. You get the idea, right? Yes. 3 arrows. Similar sort of thing. I kind of had a bit of shit aim on that one. Yes, you can do 3 arrows. 4 arrows. Yes. I mean, is it effective? I mean, that's a different question entirely, really. 5 arrows. That was actually pretty cool. Now, 6 arrows. Can we do it? Let's give it a go. Let's fucking go. All right, is it effective? No, but can it be done? Yes. Should we do one more? That's proof of concept. Six more. Damn it. All right, well, we got it once. That's all that matters. So, firing 6 arrows, Men in Tights. Thumbs up. If you're enjoying today's episode, you should really consider subscribing. I'd really appreciate it. So here is our jute rope. What we're going to do is we're going to tie this very loosely to the end of our arrow. It's just a standard target head, and then we will see if we can fire it and use it essentially like a grappling hook, right? I think that's the best way to describe the myth. I'm going to be firing it over this branch up here. It's actually quite high for me, so let's do it. So the first way I'm going to try it is I've just attached the rope very loosely. What I'm going to do is I'm going to stand on the very end of it so that it doesn't, completely fly. But I haven't wrapped this in any particular way yet. So Where is the end of this fucking thing? Exactly how it came, wrapped from the roll that I purchased it from the store. I am probably gonna fire this one on the outside of the bow, because there are different wrapping techniques of how to, you know, wrap the rope around to make it kind of come undone easier. There are different applications where it's like, what would I use this for? Honestly, I'd probably use it personally for something like this, right? It's like I need to get a rope over a tree for whatever reason you may have. Well, sometimes the trees are really, really tall. This one obviously is a little bit, maybe like I could throw something over this one easily, but sometimes trees are a lot higher. So having some sort of way to be able to get the rope to go over is a good idea. That one was close. And we are using the full extension of the rope as well. All right, let's try this again. Fucking perfect. Now, I shot it a little bit too high, but that is definitely over. It's stuck on a couple of branches just because there's lots of little foliage there, but that is 100% proof of concept. And that was very fun. Let's do it again real quick. Yep, it still works. The next trick shot, Robin Hood trick shot, throwing it way back, is gonna be splitting an arrow. How do we think we are gonna go with this? Honestly, I don't think this is possible. Now, there's a whole bunch of different reasons why. First and foremost, obviously, is like the way arrows are made, the way that they are, it was traditionally arrows, right? The way that traditional arrows are made, the way that the wood is, it doesn't really split, it more splinters, cracks, and breaks. On top of that, producing two identical shots to actually be able to split an arrow is like almost impossible, right? Now, does that mean that it is impossible? The truth of the matter is, just from like a statistical standpoint, there's obviously hundreds of thousands of arrows being, you know, loosed all the time. So from a statistical mathematical point of view, yeah, you may be able to do it once, but is it actually like a repeatable shot that is a good battle technique? No, the answer is no to that, right? But we'll give it a quick go anyway. This one's a bit low. Oh! Come on! So I wanted to take a quick moment and talk about the complete almost impossibility of this particular shot, because there is so many variables we need to talk about, especially when we're talking with wood arrows and traditional bows. Let's start off with some of the simple ones, like, you know, gravity. The arrow drops over time. There's also things like the air and wind resistance that can change moment to moment. Then we get into other things like the actual target that you're hitting is about 3 millimeters wide, and you need to hit it perfectly down the shaft of the arrow. Problem is, arrows actually move as they go through the air. Then we get into some of the other problems with this particular shot. That is that arrows at the nock are reinforced, because obviously this is where the string imparts all that force into the arrow. So if these break easily, you can't actually shoot your arrows. This one here is reinforced with a cord wrap, and then it's been actually lacquered over it. So it's been essentially glued down. There's also the additional flex of the arrow itself. When you actually hit it in its nock, the arrow may flex itself and completely knock it off course, meaning a shot that, let's just say you got a shot that was perfect, directly in line with the nock to split it in half. The flex of the actual receiving arrow might throw it off course as well. So it's just genuinely one of those shots that is damn near impossible. Now, I actually did hit the nock. I shattered it, and I even cut some of the cording up here. But even then, it still wasn't enough. Even though I hit that 3 to 4 millimeter sweet spot, because of the trajectory of the arrow, it wasn't enough. Then there's even additional things, like arrows don't actually split like you see in the films. They usually just shatter or break because of the wood that arrows are made out of. You guys have seen me break heaps of arrows plenty of times. They don't actually split like kind of a green would, right? So even that part of it is just not really possible. It's so difficult. It's beyond difficult. I think it grazed it because the nock has been split. I heard something on that one. Oh yeah, okay, I think we definitely hit it that time because that knock is crushed. Splitting an arrow. I have failed, but I expected it anyway. All right, let's move on to the next one, which will be cutting a rope with an arrow. This one's a little bit more interesting because there is some interesting stuff here, specifically in regards to the arrowhead. So let's set up some rope and let's shoot the thing. So this here is jute rope. Jute rope is very natural. It's a natural type of rope, right? It's very fibrous, very dense, very hard on the hands and stuff like that. So it's good as a kind of more historical rope. That's what we're going to call it for today's testing. This here I've set up kind of looks a bit like a medieval sex swing. Anyway, that's not what it is. What it is I'm putting some tension under the rope so that when we fire the arrows, first off, I have 3 different spots that I can hit it, so hopefully that gives me a better chance of actually hitting it. But second of all, it also puts it under a little bit of tension, because tension on a rope is what's going to be able to really see if it'll be able to cut or split or any of that sort of shit, because we just don't want it to flop around. Let's have a look at the arrowheads though. So this is more of our standard testing head that we use often, and this here is more of a hunting arrow. It has like a crescent head and it's sharp in here. So in theory, this should be able to slice through rope, like Robin Hood. Obviously, if somebody's like hanging or things like that and you shoot the rope above their head to, you know, let them escape. It's a common movie trope. Let's see what happens. That was so close. That one was fucking close. Let's inspect. I fucking nailed it. I got it. I fucking got it. All right, let's see. Calm and collected. It bit into it, but it really just didn't cut, man. Maybe it's a bit too thick. Maybe, just maybe. Let's put some more tension on it. Maybe it is the triangles. Two-time, double champ, double tap. Didn't cut it again, what the f, man? Now look, this jute rope, that one cut deeper. That one did cut deeper. But man, look at my grouping, probably like an inch and a half. But that is twice in a row that it has literally just bounced. And that is 3 times in a row. And it just bounced. There we go. That one was good. We nearly got it the whole way that time. Alrighty. If my aim keeps being so fucked on point like that, then we're gonna be able to do it. All right, last one. Let's see if we can get it all the way through the rope. Does that count? I the rope is no longer holding somebody by their neck. So technically they're saved, right? But it didn't actually cut it, it just took off my knot. I'm willing to call this one confirmed because it is slicing through the rope. It's just like, how many times do I have to shoot the same rope? How many times do I have to shoot the same pinpoint? And it just kind of slices it away very slowly. I'm gonna call this one a success. This one's a success. So, Robin Hood and his trick shots, as it were. Honestly, today's episode was a whole bunch of fun. I really need to do some more archery, man. I genuinely enjoy it. Now, in terms of what is possible and what is not, shooting an apple off a head completely possible, no worries at all. Then when it comes to some more tricky stuff like splitting an arrow, there's a whole bunch of caveats here. There's a whole bunch of stuff here, like people have tested it, they've tried it. Now the truth is, it's very, very difficult for a whole multitude of reasons, but is it technically possible? Well, I mean, it depends what you define as splitting. I feel like that's the best way. It depends on your own definition. Then when it comes to cutting a rope with an arrow, I would say that is more plausible than possible. Obviously, we use that crescent head arrow and we did get slicing action and we did start to cut it away. But I did have to hit it multiple times. Now, I want to make this clear. I was using jute rope, which is really harsh. It's a harsh type of rope. It's not like modern paracord and all these other things where if they're under tension and you put a little bit of a blade to them, they're going to cut very easy. Jute rope is no joke, man. So cutting through that thick jute rope was very difficult. Let's just put it that way. Then when it comes to shooting a rope on an arrow, yes, it is possible. It's pretty easy actually. And I feel like this is the thing. It's like, it depends how far you need to shoot it. If you're shooting it just over something that doesn't need to go that far, yeah, completely possible and plausible. And then of course, like I mentioned at the start of the episode, there are other archery trick shots. Obviously, you know, the fire arrows, yeah, they're completely possible. Cutting an arrow out of the air with a katana, it's somebody shooting the arrow at you, but you're still splitting the arrow technically, so yeah, that's possible. But I think you get the idea. There are a lot of arrow and archery trick shots. Most of them are pretty possible. It's just comes down to obviously the skill of the archer and how much patience, how many tries you get. It's like a whole thing, right? But relatively speaking, a lot of them are plausible and possible. Firing 6 arrows, they did it in the film and it was kind of a gag, but you can do it. You just need to hold all of the arrows. Now, would you want to do it? Now, that is the question that you need to ask yourself. And the answer is probably not. There's not really a point to any of these things, except for maybe like cutting the rope. But again, I don't think it's something that's very repeatable or consistent. However, I did get quite a few consistent shots, if we're being honest. I can go either way on it. But I think that's going to be all for today's episode, guys. I genuinely hope you enjoyed. Remember to like and subscribe, leave a comment down below. And as always, I'll see you next week in another episode. Have a good one.